Okay, Advanced Algebra 2. This is Thursday the 16th. Okay, and yesterday we started looking at arithmetic sequences in this formula you see here. We're going to talk a little bit more about this and kind of try to solidify our understanding of how this works and what these individual parts are. And let's just take, for starters here, let's take a look at the different variables that we have in here and what they are. So this a sub n, this a sub 1, this d value, and actually this whole set of parentheses, that n minus 1. Let's just kind of look at a way to try to realize and remember what those are. Okay, so let's look at this first. This a sub n, that's called the nth term. What is that? Well, it's some future number in your list, something that's out there a little ways that you're looking at. Okay, it's on out there a little ways. What is that a sub 1? That's the starting number, or the first number in your list. What is this n minus 1? You can think of that as how many steps you have to take to get from your first number to that number you're looking at. How many, you got your first number in line here. How many steps do you have to take to get to that nth number, that mystery number, okay? And remember, we always subtract 1 to figure that out. So that's what that part of the formula is, that n minus 1. And then what is that d value? That's how big your steps are or how you move. You either add 3 or subtract 5 for each step, okay? So if we think about it in that manner, that this d value is how I move. This, whatever's inside these parentheses, this n minus 1, that's how many steps I take. This a sub 1 is the first number in line, so that's where I start at every time. And then this a sub n is some future number, okay? And maybe today we'll solidify maybe a little bit of understanding of this formula here. So let's take a look at what I want you to do today. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got this list of numbers, this sequence, and we could take a quick look at it and figure out, hey, what are we doing each time, each step we take? We're adding 3. All right. Well, eventually we take a bunch of steps, and what happens to us? Eventually we see a 41 in our list. That's what this means. So there's a 41 way out here in this list. Now the question is, how far out there is it? That would be the position of it, our n value. Okay. So we could just say to ourselves, well, what is that 41? It's a number that's out there in our list, somewhere we want to get to. Then how do we get there? Well, we got to start. You're given directions. How do you get to this 41? Well, you start at the first number in line, 5. Then what do? You start taking steps. Okay. How many steps are we going to take? We don't know, because we don't know how far that is to get out there. So we just leave that as n minus 1. But we do know something about our steps. We know how big they are. Each step is 3 feet. Okay, or plus 3. Well, look what we just did. We just created a problem that only has one variable in it. So we can go old school on this. We can solve this. We can distribute. Yes, you can distribute a number from the right. And you get 3n minus 3. And let's clean this up. 5 minus 3 is 2. Plus a 3n, we would subtract 2. We get 39 equals 3n. Divide by 3 and we get, let me put it over here, we get n equals 13. Now what's that mean? That means that this 41 is the 13th term, which means it's the 13th number in line. Okay, let me just clean that a little bit up. Just like 5 was the first number, 11 is the third, 14 is the fourth. Well, what do we just figure out 41 is? It's the 13th number in line. Okay, and this is the answer we're after here. Tell me the term, all right? But if we think about it kind of like giving directions, that's the way I think about these things. Let's take a look here. Next problem. Here we go. All right, so here's our list. What are we doing? Let's identify that first. 20. How do I go from 26 to 21? Well, we subtract 5. Well, do I do that to go from 21 to 16? Yes. 16 to 11? Yes. Okay, we're subtracting 5 as we go. Now eventually, remember when you subtract, eventually your numbers will turn negative when you get out here. And it looks like they already have by the time we get to this 79. All right. So what we got here is we're subtracting 5 as we go. And then we keep subtracting 5 a bunch of times. And eventually we hit negative 79. The question is, where do we hit it? What position? All right. So I just say to myself, okay, how do I get to negative 79 in this list? I start at the first number, 26. And we start subtracting 5. How many times do we subtract 5? We don't know that. We're going to figure that out. Okay. Or we're going to leave that in as n minus 1. And now we only have one variable and we just solve it. Be careful of your negatives here. Let's see, negative 79. 26 plus negative 5n. So let me erase my plus. Make that minus 5n plus 5, and I just solve this. Negative 79 equals 26 plus 5 would be 31. Subtract 31 here. Be careful of your negatives. It would be negative 110, but that's equal to negative 5. So when I divide by negative 5, I get 22. So what's that tell me about my negative 79? It is the 22nd term, or the 22nd number in line. Okay, so you're only going to have 2 examples for homework, real quick for you today. Use these 2 examples to follow along. One of them will be subtracting all the way across like this one, and another one will be adding all the way across like number 1. Okay, so keep up with your work. You're getting a good chance at some free points here. Who knows what's going to happen with school. I'm up in the air as much as you are, so stay positive, keep working, try to learn as much as you can, get as much done, rack up some free points, and we'll get your grade going up here. And I'll get the 100-point grades in the grade book Thursday, Friday. It'll probably take me a little bit, so don't think that they're going to happen exactly on Wednesday. Okay, I know that's the deadline for getting things done, but then I got to go in and check it, who's got what made up. Okay, so I will get on that. So short homework for today, short video. Have a good day.